الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الحمد لله الذي خلق الإنسان من طين ثم جعل نسله من سلالة من ماء مهين ثم سواه ونفخ فيه من روحه فتبارك الله أحسن الخالقين أعطى ومنع وضر ونفع وهو بكل شيء عليم نشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا مولانا محمدا عبد الله ورسوله بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة فجزاه الله عنا وعن كل المسلمين خيرا اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد عبدك ورسولك النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا أما بعد رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي رب زدني علما والحقني بالصالحين سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم. My dear respected elders, brothers and sisters in Islam, deadlines. We've all been there and done that. From cleaning your room, finishing your meal, getting to bed, completing your homework, handing in that essay, all the way to submitting that project at work and meeting the deadline set by one's boss and many, many more. Deadlines are a human's determination of a point of completion, an expectation that demands results are seen at a time which is set. Some meet the deadline, some fail to meet that deadline. The difference between the two is a very simple distinction. One category wants it, and the other category doesn't care about it. You know your child is becoming rebellious when they fail to meet the deadlines that you set as a parent. Child, it's time to pray. Okay. Did you complete your meal? I'll do it. When are you going to do your homework? When I get time. And then that leads to stage 3, where it's, I don't want to pray. I don't want to do my homework. I will go to sleep when I want to go to sleep. I'm using the child as an example for you and I to understand personally what rebellion to a deadline is. Now keep in mind, a deadline is something human beings set. They're not divine timelines. But the rebellion, the systematic rebellion in deadlines is a more problematic thing when it comes to the overarching theme. And that is the deadline of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The one who wants it will taste it, will smell it, will run for it, will do everything necessary to accomplish it. They will push around their so-called desires and needs, and yes, they're even individual priorities because they want it. In Arabic there is a saying, كُلُّ آتٍ قَرِيبٍ. Everything that's coming is close. Ramadan is only 7 months away, and let it be known, Ramadan is close. 2019 began 11 months ago, and 2020 is now close. كُلُّ آتٍ قَرِيبٍ. Everything that is coming is close. And there is one deadline that we all as human beings must meet, and that is the deadline of death. None of us sitting here can say with any slightest bit of confidence that I am going to be alive tomorrow. It has never been the system of a Muslim human being, a Muslim family member, a Muslim community member, where they try to defy death. We don't defy death, we are a people that embrace death. Because we as Muslims know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in chapter 3 verse number 185 of the Holy Quran, كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ. Everyone has to taste death. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made death such a personal experience, He gave the example of taste. For you don't eat death. You don't smell death. You don't taste death, but we define luxuries and good things with senses. And one of the most powerful senses is our taste. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ. All of us have to taste death. Why do we have to die? Why is it that Allah created me and I have to die? Well, brothers and sisters, there is now an award, a reward, a compensation, a paycheck awaiting you. Just as you await your paycheck every Friday, or every second Friday, or every first Friday of the month. Allah is saying, your paycheck is waiting with me. Come and receive it. You will be paid your wages in full on the day of rising. فَمَنْ زُحْزِحَ عَنِ النَّارِ وَأُدْخِلَ الْجَنَّةَ فَقَدْ فَازَ. Allah is saying, if you are saved from this hellfire and you're distant from it, and you are then admitted into the gardens of paradise, you have truly triumphed. You have truly succeeded. Death is inevitable. Death is approaching. Everything that is approaching is close. The deadline lies before you and I. The question now is, Do I acknowledge and embrace this deadline, or do I remain a pessimist and say, I still have time? As I said earlier, it is not befitting for a believer to be in doubt of death. It is not befitting for a believer to forget death. Because death is the bridge that allows us to transition from this temporary abode, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala defines in this verse itself. وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مَتَاعُ الْغُرُورِ. This world is a deception. He wants you to leave deception. He wants you to leave the dream. He wants you to wake up and see reality. Allah is taking you from a deception to a reality, from a temporary standing to an eternal abode. Allah is saying this world isn't everything. Shameful is it for a Muslim that feels this at any given time of their life. And remorseful is it for a Muslim if they die in that state. وَمَنْ أَرَادَ الْآخِرَةَ وَسَعَى لَهَا سَعْيَهَا وَهُوَ مُؤْمِنٌ فَأُولَٰئِكَ كَانَ سَعْيُهُمْ مَشْكُورًا. Imam, I'm working hard day and night, blood and sweat, to do for my family. Don't forget to do for yourself. Because no one in this world will appreciate you. Your children will never appreciate you. Your parents will never appreciate you. Your spouse will never appreciate you. But Allah says, if you are striving for tomorrow and you're striving as a believer, Allah is saying, أُولَٰئِكَ كَانَ سَعْيُهُمْ مَشْكُورًا. Their efforts are being received with gratitude. I don't want to veer off topic today, brothers and sisters, but I promise you, we are in the depths of deception right now. And I wish I could explain myself, but I'll sound like a lunatic standing here today. Do not for a second believe what you're seeing is factual. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself said, "An-nasu niyam. فَإِذَا مَاتُوا إِنْتَبَهُوا." Everyone is sleeping right now. When you die, you will wake up. When we talk about this deception from the eyes of Rasulullah ﷺ, from the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then we look into our world and say our world is hunky-dory, it's perfect, the Dajjal is far away, nothing's going to happen. You are in the thick of it right now. The sad thing is you don't even know it. Allah said in His book, His words, before this entire universe was created, it's all a deception. When the Creator and Master categorize it as a deception, who are you and I to doubt it? So we need to leave, brothers and sisters. And that time is coming that Rasulullah said, a person will pass by a grave and wish that they were in that grave. Fortunate are those who are leaving this world. Fortunate are those who are going to reality. And fear are for those who are still stuck in a deception. When we die, brothers and sisters, we go on to the next leg of our journey. Right now, currently, we are in the middle of a 5-leg journey. We were sold in the world of souls. We don't remember it, but it was real. We were in the womb of our mother. If our mothers are alive, may Allah allow us to serve them. If they pass on, may Allah allow us to pray for them. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. You will not even remember a second that you spent of those 9 months in your mother's womb, but you were there. Today you are in the womb of this world. It is that same round marble, unless you believe in the flat earth concept, which I'm not here to debate today, but we are in the middle. We will move on now to the grave, and from the grave to the day of judgment. The grave is a step that everyone has to experience. For that, we have to die. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam constantly reminded his Sahaba and reminded us through his Sahaba that we are on this journey. Do not forget. Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said he actually held him by his shoulder. He put his hand on his shoulder and he said, "Kun fi dunya ka'annaka gharibun aw 'abiru sabil." Live on this earth as if you are a traveler or a passerby. Don't even worry about collecting a magnet or a postcard. You're going to pass it. Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu used to say, in the evening, do not anticipate the morning, and in the morning, do not anticipate the evening. خُذْ مِنْ صِحَّتِكَ لِمَرَضِكَ وَمِنْ حَيَاتِكَ لِمَوْتِكَ. Take from your healthy days for the sick days. Take from your life for your death. This journey to death is inevitable, and we are only continuing toward it every day. We will move around this world as much as Allah has written, but the ultimate stop is our tombstone. That is why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to say, "Akthiru dhikra hadim al-lazzat." Remember constantly that which will destroy pleasures. Not only will it destroy carnal pleasures, but it will allow you to focus on the bigger picture. Today the ummah is lost. We don't realize our priorities. And Rasulullah ﷺ saying, remember your priority is your death. I want to die and see Allah and He says, I'm happy with you. I want to die and see the creation saying, we have no qualms with you. I want to die and see Rasulullah and the angels will push me forward and say, she was from your ummah. That's what we want. If you understand these three things, then your actions will be upright. Your tongue will be controlled. Your eyes will be controlled. Your purpose will be defined. And your life will be a benefit for you and others. What happens when we die? Death is as real as pinching your skin. I am so fortunate, alhamdulillah, to stand by over 20 people as they breathed their last. And I could feel the angel of death in the room. It is such an epic experience, one that no one should fear. For remember, a day doesn't pass, but the angel of death reminds you that your time is coming. When a noble soul dies, the angel of death comes a little time before to allow you to prepare for your death. They will allow you to readjust your life or do something, and that would be the way you want to go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There was a sheikh from Zambia or South Africa who was in Umrah with his students. And upon completing the rituals, he was exiting the mataf and he stopped. His students stopped. He turned around and he walked back towards the Kaaba. The students didn't know anything, so they walked with him. And he went towards the Kaaba. He went into sajda, and that's where he took his last breath. The angel of death told him, your time is coming. Where do you want to go? And Allah will give the honorable death to those who honored Allah. Not only will the angel of death come, but over 70,000 angels with the shroud of paradise, with bouquet of roses will come and get you. And when your soul is taken up, all the angels in the heavens will run towards you. We see the caravan, or we see the motorcade of someone special going, people lining up in droves. Who is this person? The angels line up. Who is this soul? Which soul is this? This noble, honorable soul. Let me have a piece of it. Let me touch this soul. Let me be blessed by this soul. And the soul goes up, and Allah says, write this soul amongst the Illiyin. the honored ones. And then that soul descends and waits for that body to be washed, that eggshell to be shrouded, and that temporary body to be buried back in the same dirt it came from. The soul says, but you cannot hear. The soul says, hurry up, take me, don't keep me. I need to get my janazah done. I'm going. Just like if you're in the airport and you're waiting by the gate and you find out the flight is delayed for 3 hours. I promise you there's not going to be a smile on anyone's face. Everyone will jump to the desk and they will lash out their frustration. How is the flight delayed? Why is the flight delayed? Why? Because I need to get somewhere. This soul is saying, I need to get somewhere, hurry me up. But if the soul is a wretched soul, if the soul is a deprived soul, and it's so beautiful in our deen, Rasulullah never defined that every Muslim by default is successful and every non-Muslim by default is unsuccessful. Every human being has a chance to become that. You don't know what their last words will be before they die. It may be that someone who didn't believe in Allah will say Allah's name at the time of their death and go to that nobility. And there'll be someone who preached Allah's name the whole life, and in the last words, Allah will come from their mouth. Rather, they will reject and deny Allah. May Allah protect us from that. Never sleep, never stand, never sit with this belief, I'm good. Being a Muslim doesn't mean you're good. Being Muslim means you're more responsible than others. If the soul is wretched, the angel of death will come when the person least expects it. And that person will be shocked, and the angel will start ripping that soul out of the body. The noble soul goes like a Kleenex from a box. And the wretched soul is like that Kleenex on the first, when you open it. You're pulling it, you don't know which one to pull. And they're all coming out in pieces. The soul will be ripped out of the body. The soul will not only be ripped out of the body, but then it will be wrapped in a shroud, a stenching shroud. It stinks so bad that you want to run from it. And that soul is taken, and the angels in the heavens run from it. What is this thing? And Allah says, put this person as the failure. And then that soul will cry to the people of the earth, don't take me, to keep my body, I cannot go to the grave. But that body is taken to the grave, and then that body is asked the same 3 questions that every Muslim has been taught. Who is your Lord? Who is your Lord? You can't write it, you can't tattoo it. It's what you had conviction in your life for. What was your way? ما دينك? What was your way? وما تقول في هذا الرجل? Who is this person? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah open our eyes to understand the severity and importance of this matter and allow us to prepare for this. And for its preparation, the graveyard stands as our symbol of reminder. May Allah keep us conscious always about our death and about the transition to the akhirah. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa mawala. Brothers and sisters in Islam, death is our deadline. Death is our divine deadline. The grave is our next stop. It is said that Uthman radiallahu ta'ala used to cry when he would hear about the grave, to the extent that his beard would become wet. He was asked, when paradise and hell is mentioned, you don't cry. But when you hear about the grave, you cry. So he said the grave is the first step to the hereafter. If you can survive the grave, what follows it will be lesser. It will be easier. But if you fail in the grave, what follows it is more difficult. That is why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, كُنْتُ نَهَيْتُكُمْ عَنْ زِيَارَةِ الْقُبُورِ فَزُورُهَا. I used to prevent you from visiting the grave, now go visit it. The grave is such a reminder, my fellow Muslims. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, fearing that you would stop burying your dead, I would have asked Allah to allow you to hear the torment of the grave. All creations hear what's happening in the grave except for humans and jinn. And if it wasn't for the fact that you would run from the graveyard and you would throw your deceased without burying them, I would have asked Allah, let you hear it. Let you hear it. For when you hear it, you'll remember it. When you remember it, you'll believe it. But brothers and sisters, the world is a test. Do as you will. If there's one of the few things that Rasulullah took and sought Allah's protection from, he sought Allah's protection from the punishment of the grave. Not only did he tell us about death, he told us about the grave. He told us to prepare for the grave. Allah told us in the Quran everything in detail, what's going to happen beyond the grave, on the day of judgment, in paradise, in hell. Why? So you do not become stagnated on this earth. There's poetry written on a tombstone, a very well written poetry. Ya waqifan 'inda qabri, la tata'ajjab min amri, bil amsi kuntu mislak, wa ghadan takunu misli. O person standing by my grave, don't be astonished by my condition. Yesterday I was standing where you are. Tomorrow you'll be where I am. It is that close. It is that real. If you remembered the grave today, ask yourself, how did that shift my perceptions and priorities? What I'm doing and what I should be doing. Imagine if we remembered the grave and death every day once. Imagine if we as an ummah reminded our children about the grave and death at least once. This would change who we are and what we do. Near the end of his life, Rasulullah would go to the graveyard. Aisha radiallahu anha says that when it was my turn for Habib Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam to be with me, I would wake up at night and he would be gone. Initially, she assumed he went off to one of his other wives. But upon searching, they found he was in Baqi', the graveyard of Medina. May Allah give us a death in Medina. Say Ameen. May Allah give us the mud of Medina. May Allah give us a grave in the most blessed place where people will come and remember us. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma arzuqna shahadatan fi sabilik waj'al mawtana fi baldati rasulik sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ameen. And he would just go to the graveyard and just stand there. He was informed by Allah, your time is coming. And he was preparing himself. If Rasulullah is preparing himself for death, who are you and I not to prepare for death? He didn't care about his mortgage as much as he cared about his grave. He didn't care about the model of his horse or camel as much as he cared about the expansion of the grave. He didn't care about the luxurious brand name clothing as he cared about the shroud of paradise. He didn't care about storm-proof windows as much as he cared about the window of paradise opening up in his grave. That's what he told us to care about. No one says, don't buy a house. No one says, don't live a life. But if your life is holding you down, you're going to your grave with a great burden. Brothers and sisters in Islam, we as a community realize how death is, and how close death is, and how real death is. Matter of fact, in a few minutes after the prayer, we have a janazah in our multi-purpose hall. The problem is we did not understand how fast our community would go. And alhamdulillah, our community has grown. It has flourished. Entire DFW area with over 200,000 Muslims and growing, alhamdulillah. But with that came a concern 5 years ago, that how can we work on our own cemetery so our fellow Muslim brothers and sisters, parents and children could be buried in a place that is close and together. And that brought about the Farmersville project. You all know better than I do the ups and downs that occurred nationally, a federal case for this Farmersville cemetery. Alhamdulillah, today we own that property as a community, alhamdulillah. And now we are embarking on completing phase 1 of 2 of its construction so that we can start using it. Denton is over an hour away. Restland is full. This is a priority of every Muslim, that these 34 acres of land, these 11,000 plots of burial can be acquired and prepared sooner than later, so that when we have janazas, we are going 20 minutes from here and burying our deceased. When we remember our deceased and family members, we go back there and pray for them. We need a cemetery close to us. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, the 5 Sajid of Collin County, including with them Richardson and Carrollton, have come together to push for this project. And inshallah, we are looking to raise $1.2 million in our fundraiser next Saturday. That inshallah, if we raise that, in addition to the $850,000 we already have, we can comfortably start with phase 1 of this construction project. And we believe in our heart that if every one of us donate $1,000 as a family towards it, this will be accomplished inshallah. Remember, brothers and sisters, this land will be waqf. Whoever dies, whenever they die, there will be no price for the land. If not, ask the family members who recently buried their deceased in Restland. You're talking over $10,000. We need to make death something that is real and something that doesn't become a burden on our families. So please purchase those tickets, attend the fundraiser, if not donate today towards this project, so that we can make our version of Baqi here for our Muslim brothers and sisters, so that they can rest in a place where people will visit them, and where when we die we will be resting and people will be visiting us. We send salutations and blessings upon Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who guided us, who mentored us, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala sayyidina Muhammad abdika wa rasulika an-nabiy al-ummi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa baraka wa sallama tasliman kathiran kathira. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وإسرافنا في أمرنا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. اللهم اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. اللهم ألف بين قلوبنا وأصلح ذات بيننا واهدنا سبل السلام وجنبنا الفواحش ما ظهر منها وما بطن. اللهم اشف مرضانا وعاف مبتلانا وارحم موتانا يا رب العالمين. آمين يا رب العالمين. آمين يا رب العالمين. آمين يا رب العالمين. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. Please ensure that our lines are straight, stand shoulder to shoulder. Fill in all the gaps. If there is a gap in front of you, please move forward and fill in that gap. There are many people standing outside in the rotunda waiting to come inside. Jazakumullah khair.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة